Hi, Melissa Deely here, back for day 7 of my hormone series. And today I'm talking about what happens when we get stuck in chronic stress and have our cortisol levels turned on and cortisol pumping through our body all the time. The other day I was just talking about cortisol in general and the natural pattern of what cortisol should be, which is highest in the morning, and then throughout the day it lowers so that by the time you're going to bed, cortisol is dropped right off and your melatonin is rising to help you get to sleep. But what happens when that lovely arc doesn't happen? So, the first stage of burnout or chronic stress is called the alarm stage. And this is when our levels are high all the time. And what happens in this stage is that, interestingly, you actually feel pretty good because that cortisol is keeping you going. And so you don't see any need to go to the doctor. You have all this energy, but you can't sleep. And sleep, as I've mentioned before, is so absolutely critical to the human body that the fact that you can't sleep is draining your systems and burning through much needed minerals in the body and will continue to take you into the next stage of burnout, which is the resistance stage. So, people that are very often in this stage of feeling high energy, feeling good, but actually having cortisol dysfunction at a really high level and unable to sleep are, for instance, young doctors in residence, because we demand so much of them. And I've always wondered, like, how can it be healthy for these young doctors to be working these long shifts and having to study? As well as people in grad school that are working full time and trying to get through a very busy grad school schedule, or accountants during tax season with so many deadlines and many clients, and all of their work comes in this massive dump at one time of year. And it's really not healthy. When we are burning out the body, as I said, we're burning through much needed minerals in the body and causing depletion, and very often we are having magnesium being used to relax us for the short amount of time that we take to relax, but we're burning it out, and magnesium is needed for over 300 other cellular functions in the body. So many of us in today's day and age are deficient in magnesium. So then what comes after that stage? And oh, by the way, in that stage, you're very often not realizing anything's wrong. You're not going to the doctor because you actually feel really good. Your cortisol's pumping through and giving you energy. But then we get to the next stage, which is when our cortisol levels are flatlining and pretty low throughout the day. So kind of at the afternoon time throughout the day, you don't get that peak in the morning to get you going. And this is called the tired but wired stage. And many people are in this phase. So you're a little bit groggy in the morning, hit the snooze button a few times, need that coffee to get you up and get you going, and just don't feel refreshed upon waking because your cortisol levels are not peaking for you to get you going in the morning. So this is starting to be diurnal dysfunction. And it's so incredibly common. The next phase after that is our exhaustion stage. So we're going from alarm stage to resistance stage to exhaustion stage. And even within these 3 stages, they can be broken down into further stages. So within the alarm stages, there's actually 3 different levels as we progress through that. Within the resistance stage, there's 2 more levels, and within the exhaustion stage, there's 2 more levels. So what I'm just giving you is an overall of each stage of common symptoms so that you can assess, where might I be at? And do I need to be seeking help? Do I need to be making some lifestyle changes? Do I need to be doing some testing to actually see what my cortisol levels are doing and be able to then make adjustments and bring them back into balance? So in the fatigue stage, this is where you have flu-like symptoms all day. You just can't get up and get going, no energy. Your immune system is not functioning properly. It's exhausted as well and broken down. there's inflammatory response in your body, your joints hurt, fever, swollen glands, and just can't wake up, feel overwhelmed all the time, irritable, and as if you have nothing left to give. You are absolutely exhausted. And that's no way to live your life. And unfortunately, there's so many people stuck in that phase right now, which is a real shame. And, going to doctors and trying to figure out what's wrong with them, but not getting answers that they need for true healing. Lots of coffee being drunk in this case, but it's making you feel worse, it's making you feel anxious, and it's, of course, impacting your sleep, because every cup of caffeinated coffee that you have is impacting your sleep. The half-life of coffee is 8 hours. So if you're drinking, 250 milligrams of coffee at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 hours later, you still have 125 of that in your body at 4 p.m. So if you've drunk another cup at noon and you've drunk another cup at 4 p.m., that is not helping with your sleep, and it's not helping you get into a good cycle of managing cortisol and managing sleep. So that's just a quick overview of the 3 phases of exhaustion to burnout that happen when our cortisol is out of balance, and something to be aware of and to consider. And if you feel like this might be you and you're stuck in one of these phases and you don't feel great and you want to make change, then feel free to go to my website, click work with me at the top of the page for a free consult so we can figure out where you're at and maybe what the next steps are for you to bringing your body back into balance. Hope that was helpful information, and see you next time.